You're back in the hot seat, Sean.
Oh, baby.
How does it feel?
Feels nice.
That was
Nice
a little
to be
bit
back.
erotic.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, it was a little bit erotic.
It's nice to be back. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's good. I'm learning on the job.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
Thanks, Rob.
Allegedly.
Oh.
UFC 240 went down on the weekend. Max Holloway and Cris Cyborg bounced back from their last losses, and we're going to talk about those fights plus all the big fallout from the card. Dana White hinted at McGregor return and potentially filling in for Poirier and Khabib if something happens. We'll discuss that. Also an update on Jon Jones' legal situation. Apparently it's okay. And also, a UFC card goes down this weekend. Colby Covington fights Robbie Lawler. We're going to break it down. Let's go. UFC 240 went down last weekend. It was Holloway versus Edgar. We're going to go through this card, talk about some of the big talking points from the card, because I think there was actually quite a few. Even though the card, in my opinion, wasn't the best thing I've seen in the world, and I could have spent my Sunday, because I watched it the next day, probably a little bit better. There was some good fights, and the fallout was pretty interesting. Let's go with Max Holloway versus Frankie Edgar. First off, what was your thoughts on the fight itself?
On the fight itself, for me, this wasn't necessarily about seeing Max at his ultimate best. For me, it was just about getting back in there and getting a win. I thought he got good.
Yeah.
I thought his striking looked crisp on point. It was classic Max, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He took one, gave you four, sort of like that. Yeah, I thought he didn't. In my eyes, he didn't lose a round. I thought the 48-47 scorecard was a bit odd.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gave him every round.
Yeah,
easy.
same.
Third round, it looked like he might get him out of there. To me, I don't mind him not getting him out of there, because Frankie's not a guy that you really want to push it on, because you never know what could happen. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the story of the fight was that it was just that he was never in trouble.
Yeah.
It was just kind of one-way traffic for the most part. I thought it was a good performance by Max Holloway, and I thought it was the type of performance that he needed.
Yeah.
After that really tough fight against Dustin Poirier, I'm glad he went in there 4-5 rounds against a tough guy. Frankie's always tough, and we got to see what he could do. There was a lot of questions going in about his health. I know he was walking in for the event. Dana White put a picture up, or a video up,
Yeah.
and a lot of people saying he looked sick and stuff. Did you read anything into that?
No, people said he was limping. I seen DC tweeted out the picture, and he was like, "Man, he ain't limping. That's just his swag."
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't read too much into it. I know you actually said to me he sounded a bit drained on one of the embeddeds. I mean, 145 is just a tough cut for a man. But yeah, his performances at 145, none of them have looked depleted, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's just a tough weight cut.
It's a tough weight cut, and the fact that he was pulled from a fight for some reason, and we don't know why he was pulled from the fight. If you don't know what that is, go check it out. Go look it up, what happened. Essentially, we were told that they didn't really figure out what the problem was. So I think when we're going into a Max Holloway fight at 145, we all kind of not nitpick, but we look at him with a magnifying glass almost to see if he's healthy. So I think that's what's happening there. But yeah, Max Holloway, where does he go from here? It's got to be Volkanovski, right?
Yeah, realistically it should have been Volkanovski anyway.
Yeah.
I think Frankie was a guy that none of us mind seeing get a title shot, and probably does it. It was kind of just recognition for Frankie for being a solid company man. But yeah, for Max, pulled him on that Australian card.
When is it though?
October?
Is it
November?
October? Let me find when that is.
Look it up for me, bro.
What is it? UFC 2 what? 243.
I'm going to guess 243, because 242 is Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, and it's Daniel Whitaker. Okay, let's look at this. This is October 6th.
We're on a July, August, September.
3 months, if not even. It's definitely a quick turnaround, and he was asked this they do the post-fight thing with Tyron Woodley and
I watched it,
yeah, they do that, and he was asked whether he would fight Volkanovski on that. He basically said that he's had like 3 title defenses or something, or 3 title fights in 6 months or whatever. So we need, not even that, he just said he needs to chat with his team. Like, I think Max Holloway is the type of guy who would be well up for that.
Yeah.
Like, I think he really would, but he needs to talk to his team, and I think his team would probably be smart in saying, let's hold off a little bit, but I would love to see it.
Yeah. If you listen to the post-fight presser just with Max, Rush was with him as well.
Yeah.
Mini blessed. Max said that his team are very on top of any little niggle he gets, as in he will say to a coach, my hand hurts a little today, and next thing he gets a text from his manager saying you're in the doctor's tomorrow. So like that, it does sound like they're very on top of what sort of might have happened when he was pulled from that fight with Ortega, which is good to hear, because we don't really know what happened, so they're very on top of it by the sounds of it. Yeah, I think December's probably when we'll see him again, if we see him. He said actually in the post-fight presser, he was like, first week of December, that's been Max week for like the last 3 years. So I think that's probably what I would see him. And he's a headliner in his own right, so maybe one might not want to go into a co-main.
Yeah. So how do you actually see that fight going? Because I know a lot of people at this point at 145 are saying who's going to really stop Max Holloway. And I think this performance showed how good he is at this weight. But how do you see him matching up with Volkanovski? Because it's a different type of challenge, I think.
Yeah, it is very much a different type of challenge. I've questioned Max in a lot of fights lately. His ones against that. The first one against Aldo, the Ortega fight.
Just for the record, I've picked Max Holloway in every single fight since I can remember. And he's only lost once, and that was the Poirier fight.
Yeah, I've questioned Max, or I've had questions with Max going into those fights, so who am I to question him anymore? I love him, absolutely love him. I think he's brilliant. I think he should be a bigger star than he is. That's a different debate. But yeah, who am I to question him? Yeah,
I agree, but I do think it's an interesting matchup because Volkanovski does everything quite well. I don't think he excels in any particular area, but I think he does well everywhere. And also, apparently he cuts a shit ton of weight.
Volkanovski?
Yeah, apparently so.
Yeah.
Apparently he's really, he fought I think as high as middleweight maybe. He definitely fought a welterweight.
Jesus.
Definitely fought a welterweight. I'm not sure if middleweight is right. So, we saw against Poirier how weight was definitely a factor and how power was definitely a factor because he saw what he done against Frankie Edgar last weekend and he put in a similar performance, I thought, against someone like Poirier. But when he was landing shots, they just weren't having any kind of effect. I'm not sure if that's going to be the same against someone like Volkanovski.
That was one of my thoughts watching the fight. It was like, this isn't too different to what Max done against Dustin. It's just a bigger guy.
Yeah, and also Dustin did land more shots, and obviously,
100%.
He has a lot more power than Frankie Edgar. But yeah, I'd love to see that fight. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I think it's going to happen next. I'm not sure.
It will happen
next.
We just don't know when.
Exactly. Frankie Edgar, where does he go from here? A lot of people are calling for 135. I think he can definitely make that weight. I think we've seen it, but what's your thoughts with?
Hello, Frankie. See you at bantamweight next.
Think so?
Yeah. I know you haven't read. We're both signed up to The Athletic.
Sure.
Shaheen El Shadi wrote a piece on.
With the real name and all.
Yeah.
Shaheen.
Go on, I got you, bro. He wrote a piece on seeing Frankie at bantam, and Frankie's kind of had this thing where he's the little guy, doing it for the little guys. Obviously, he won a title at lightweight as a little guy. Couldn't do it at feather. For me, I think Frankie kind of looks at going to bantam as taking an L, really, if he has to go to bantam. For me,
he's almost cheating himself. Yeah.
For me, he's not, because then it's him against guys his own size. He's small at featherweight. He's small at featherweight. Frankie against guys his own size is still a dangerous matchup. I don't think he's over the hill. I think he's not. I don't think he's as good as he once was, but I still think he's in a high level fighter.
I agree.
And I think there's some great matchups from a bantamweight.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have said this, and I think Sean Al-Shatti said it as well, was that I don't think, looking at Frankie Edgar, I don't think what we saw in those fights was him getting old.
No, don't think so.
I just think
Max was better.
Max was better. And also a point as well is, if he does go down to bantamweight, I think it'd be a great move, because I think fighting guys his size will be a great thing. And to be honest, Aljamain Sterling, guys like that are going to be bigger than him anyway, because they're fucking huge. But I also think we shouldn't just dismiss that Max Holloway was the better fighter in there, just like when Max Holloway went up against Poirier was just a better fighter on that night. So I don't think it's a given that Frankie Edgar goes down and beats everybody down there.
No,
but I just think it levels the playing field a little bit,
and there's some very good matchups. So the 48-47 scorecard was weird. Did you give Frankie any rounds?
I think one was close, wasn't it? One was a little bit close.
Kind of looking to give it to him.
Yeah, maybe one. Maybe one round. That's really it.
Did you hear Dana kind of shit on Max at 155 pretty much ever again?
Yeah, which I'm very confused, because let me just check this really quickly. Max Holloway is, what age is he?
27.
27.
Yeah.
He's 27. He's gonna get bigger.
Yeah.
I think he was even asked, if Max Holloway was given more time to basically put on the muscle that he needs to put on and go up. And it's weird, isn't it?
For me, if you give Max a proper length of time, the only issue stopping Max going back to 155 right now for me is you can't build him at 155. If you're putting him in, he has to go into a big fight like he did against Dustin because of where he is at 145. You can't go in and give him a top 15 guy, a lower of the top 15 guy, to let him build into the weight and build some muscle. I think if you could do that, he's definitely going to make 155.
Yeah.
Or be a top level guy at 155.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him going away for like 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
And just doing strength and conditioning, all that kind of stuff, and then moving up and going for. But
yeah,
you know, if this weight cut isn't too bad for him, like it seems like it's terrible, but if it's not too bad, Max Holloway at 145 it's just a tough customer.
Terrifying.
The two real big fights I think is Volkanovski. I think Zabit could be a problem, just his size and kind of what he does.
Zabit needs 2 more wins.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, there's some interesting fights there as well. Cris Cyborg defeated Felicia Spencer in the co-main event. I think similar to the main event for some people, I think Frankie Edgar got a lot of credit for what he done, and rightfully so. I think Felicia Spencer got a lot of credit for this fight as well, and rightfully so. But I don't think it was as close as a lot of people were saying.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
I think it was just, we seen Cyborg get cut for the first time, minute of the first round, and people are like, oh fuck. But yeah, I thought she was pretty dominant. I saw Felicia Spencer showed a lot of heart, a lot of grit, a lot of determination, and a chin of granite. So fair fucks to her. Because most people saw it as a run-through job for Cyborg, and Felicia Spencer showed it was anything but that. But it wasn't overly close for me.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those situations where, you know, the person who doesn't really lose to most people, getting challenged a little bit. And then I think more credit is given. But yeah, I think it was a good showing from Felicia Spencer, but I don't think it was as close as a lot of people said.
Yeah. I think Felicia as well, we spoke about this last week, she's so young.
Yeah.
She's going to come back and she's going to be at elite level fights, because she's a proper 145 pounder. I think the UFC, I think maybe they are trying to build that division, because it's hard to just open a division and suddenly you've got 50 fighters there that you can blood.
Yeah, you wonder where she goes, because, as you said, there's not many fighters in that division. Where is she going to go? She's not going to fight a champ.
No.
They're not going to rematch with Cyborg.
No.
Who does she fight?
Holly Holm.
Yeah, Holly Holm back up at 145. Probably.
Jermaine,
maybe. She doesn't want to fight there. She wants to fight at 135, it seems.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
But yeah, if you look at the stats, so Cyborg landed 45 strikes in round number 1 versus 10 for Spencer. 24 strikes versus 10 in the second round, and then 53 strikes to 18.
Yeah.
It was just a run through. But I think the interesting story coming from this is that's Cyborg's last fight on her UFC contract.
Yeah. Got a picture on screen here.
Yeah, we have a picture if you want to. Yeah, is it on there? Yeah, great stuff. So she said that she wants to fight Amanda Nunes next. Apparently, according to Dana White, she doesn't want to fight Amanda Nunes next for some reason. It's all a contractual kind of thing, and she's now a free agent. She's going to go test the market, I think. But I find it interesting, and I understand why Dana White is doing this, and we can talk about it, but I really find it interesting watching Dana White talk about Cyborg right now, because he's almost afraid to give her a compliment. He's terrified to give her a compliment.
Yeah, I find it really interesting. And Cyborg has talked about the bullying, essentially, and there's obviously the videos in the past where Dana and Joe Rogan have kind of shit on her and basically said she has a penis and stuff like that. Yeah. That's not good.
Dana said she looked like Vanderlei Silva in high heels.
That's bullying. Like, I don't care who you are. That's bullying. Bullying in the workplace, whatever.
That's UFC.
Yeah. The thing is as well, with other fighters it's a little bit different. Dana can kind of do what he wants. Cyborg was a star long before she came to the UFC.
Yeah.
And she'll be a star after the UFC.
She'll make money outside the UFC.
Yeah. She doesn't need the UFC. The UFC need her more than she needs them.
Yeah.
Arguably.
Yeah.
Even with the ESPN deal, whatever.
Yeah.
She'll make money outside the UFC.
Yeah.
She's shown. I don't think Cyborg's not in the business of turning down fights. Come on.
No.
It's
clearly a contractual thing.
She didn't get to the level, but it's not even from listening to Cyborg. It doesn't. What she said, it doesn't even seem to be about the contract and money. It's just respect. Like she basically wants an apology from Dana, because she was talking in the presser about how her daughter now gets stuff said to her about what Dana and Joe Rogan would said.
Really?
Yeah, and her daughter's getting bullied and sort of getting into fights at school, and she's like, "Man, this isn't fair." Like,
it's insane. And
she just wants an apology and a bit of respect from the UFC,
yeah,
because obviously they've never had the best relationship. That's fair enough for me, man. She's owed an apology as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Do you see her re-signing with the UFC and this Amanda Nunes fight happening? Do you see her re-signing?
Yeah, because I think the UFC need it. They need that fight. It's one of the biggest fights they make.
It actually is quite a big fight, I think.
It's outside of a Conor return. It's one of the biggest fights they can make right now. Amanda's a star. Cyborg's a star. Yeah, I think it's one of the biggest fights they can make.
I do think it's quite interesting though when Dana White is asked about her, because like he's in this situation now where, like, as a promoter, like, you want to promote her. Like, if she's under contract with you, you're going to have to promote her. You're going to want to promote her because you want the biggest fights. but also you're in a situation where she could easily go sign with PFL or Bellator or somebody else. So if he comes out now, if he comes out and says like, oh, she put on an excellent performance, looked great, and then she fucks off to another promotion, Dana White is in a situation where he can't really turn back then and say, oh well, she's terrible anyway. So he's saying this really kind of underhanded thing, where he's saying it's not an insult, but he's saying, oh, so many fighters have left this organisation because they can't handle it anymore. Like, that's what he's saying. And I understand from a business point of view, but I just think it's fascinating that he's going down this route.
He reckons they get a deal done. He said there's not too many fights we haven't got a deal done. But the way he said it, it was like, oh yeah, I'll get a deal done, you know. But I think if he wants to get a deal done, then he's going to need to apologise to Cyborg. Do you know what's a good fight though? What? Her and Julia Budd.
It is a good fight in Bellator. Yeah. Wouldn't mind seeing that one. I wouldn't mind seeing that one. Or her in PFL, and there's a certain somebody over there who she could fight eventually. I think it's too soon, but yeah. Jeff Neal got a huge win over Nico Price. By the way, we went I went 5-0 on this card. I'm not sure what your picks were, but I went 5-0.
5 big favourites, Rob.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Would have got 2.5 to 1 on that. Jeff Neal got a beautiful win over Nico Price. Yeah, it was a phenomenal one. There was some weird double knockouts in the card.
Not double knockouts, double knockdown.
The double knockdown on the card. It seemed like a headbutt or something, but I was very impressed with Jeff Neal in this one because he had a good first round, very technical. Second round, he done what his corner said not to do and get into a brawl, and he got wobbled a little bit. But then he came back and got his senses, got on top. His jiu-jitsu looked pretty decent against a guy who's tricky on the floor, and of course got that lovely finish with the head kick. And some people called it a bit early, but I was fine with that.
Don't really have a problem with early stoppages. I've said it many times.
Unless it's like egregious.
Jeff Neal looked damn good. That's his last 2 fights now. He's beat decent level guys, so he's someone who could be interesting at the division. But obviously as you step up, it gets a bit more dangerous. But yeah, I'd like to see him stepped up again now.
Yeah, but like if you look at it, Brian Camozzi, fair enough. But Frank Camacho, Belal Muhammad, and Nico Price, they're tricky fights. They're tricky fights, and he wins them, and I was very impressed. So Yukian and OAM, Obon Mercier decision. I wish we saw more from Yukian because he looked great against the Dagestani, but it wasn't great here. So same with Jocko. Decision wasn't great. Was there anything on the prelims that you enjoyed?
Not a lot, to be honest.
No.
Did
you see them?
No, I didn't.
If you haven't seen Dawodu's finish, go check that out. That's a good one.
Sorry, I have seen that.
Yeah, you have seen that. I'll let you talk about that
one. Mad finish. Do you think it was an early stoppage?
No.
Yeah. It was done.
He was moving a little bit.
He was moving a little bit, but it was going to get done anyway.
Yeah, he's always angry, isn't he? That guy.
He's always fuming. He just looks fucking fuming.
He just looks so angry all the time. What else? Gavin Tucker got a submission. Edson Figueiredo and
flyweights are back,
Pantoja,
baby.
They're back. Dana White is back on board, but Pantoja and him put on a great performance, and Gillian Robertson got a nice finish on the other prelims. But yeah, that was it. It wasn't a great card, but there was some interesting bits and pieces.
What do you reckon it does pay-per-view wise?
Pay-per-view wise?
I reckon 150, 200 maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. What's next? Because I don't have the rundown open.
Next up, Jon Jones won't fight Cory Anderson next, according to Dana White. In this post-fight presser, it was put to Dana. I actually watched his post-fight presser. It was put to Dana. He was like, "Is he going to fight Cory next?" Cory confronted him at some meet and greet.
That was very strange.
Yeah, Dana said, but Dana basically said, "Am I giving Cory Anderson the Jon Jones fight? He's turned down about 50 fights in the last month." Yeah,
and apparently, like Rook Lockhold, Luke Rockhold came out and said that Cory Anderson turned him down, and somebody else came out. So that kind of does move into that. Like, Anderson's looking for a championship fight, so whatever. But yeah, I thought that was funny. I wouldn't be hugely interested in a Jon Jones versus Cory Anderson fight anyway.
To be honest, I'm struggling to see fights I'm overly interested with for Jon Jones at light heavyweight.
DC is the only one.
DC's the only one, man. Or someone else at heavyweight.
Would you like to see DC and Jon Jones at heavyweight or light heavyweight?
I want to see the fight. Personally, I'd like to see it at heavyweight. But I understand Jon's reason. I don't think Jon's overly keen to go to heavyweight.
It seems like DC doesn't want it at heavyweight either.
I've said this before. DC, if he wants that fight, he'll want it as a competitor. He'll want it at light heavy because that's where Jon has a win over him.
Yeah.
If I'm DC's management, I'm like, man, you're taking that fight at heavyweight.
Yeah, absolutely. He's some fucking guy, DC, like not wanting it there.
DC got so much hate for so long.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, he's such a fucking bloke.
Yeah, he's such a bloke. But yeah, the other thing was, and we have a video if you want to try to get it there.
Get that up.
Basically, Dana White said, or he didn't say, he kind of hinted that Jon Jones' potential charge is nothing. He said that it's basically, he's seen a video apparently of the incident. If you haven't seen last week's show, or if you haven't read the news, Jon Jones was charged for a potential battery.
Trying to get the video open now, apologies.
Yeah, no bother. For a potential battery against a waitress, wasn't it? In a strip club?
Yeah, put her in a chokehold apparently.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be laughing at that.
TMZ, if you want to pause there for 1 second. TMZ did put up some videos of both Jones and his brother in the strip club on the night apparently.
Okay.
But Dana White said he's seen some videos and Jon Jones will be, he'd be fine apparently.
We're going to play this one now?
Yeah, so let's make sure we have some audio.
I've seen some videos.
Of what happened?
Yeah.
Is it nothing at all, or is it bad?
Listen, I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to hurt
legal
his
issues
case or whatever. But yeah, I'm. It's unfortunate. Let's put it that way. That when you're famous, these type of things happen to you. And yeah, let me just say, from what I've seen so far, when it all surfaces and comes to the top, God, how should I word this?
With the Magic 8 Ball saying outlook not so good?
No, looks good for Jon.
Oh, okay.
Looks very, very good for Jon Jones. Yeah, it's quite sad, actually.
My question with this kind of thing is there actually a code of conduct that the UFC has? Do you guys have
No.
meetings when
would be the answer to that.
That's fine. That was Aaron Bronstetter of TSN, I believe.
Yeah.
So thank you for that video. But yeah, it seems like everything's going to be fine according to the videos that Dana White have seen. So like, I hope that nothing happened, because first thing, we don't want battery on some fucking waitress, and also, you know, I do want to see Jon Jones fight.
But like we said, when it happened, we'll just pass giving Jon the benefit of the doubt. But like Dana said, when you're famous, kind of bad, like shit, people can get attracted to you and things happen, whatever. But yeah, we hope it's all good.
Yeah, I hope so. Conor McGregor's in the news again. I'm sorry, we have to do it. So apparently Dana White said that Conor is going to be waiting for Khabib and Poirier to play out before making the UFC return. Also a bit on Masvidal, we'll talk about that in a minute. Mm-hmm. But what do you read from that Conor is going to wait for how that fight's going to play out?
The way Dana made it sound in his presser afterwards, it was like if something happens to either fighter, Conor's going to be the one to step in. It's basically...
Seems a bit weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, he didn't say it like in that many words. He sort of said it in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
As if he wanted to plant a little seed in our heads of possibly that happening. I think if that happens, right, that's a bad business move for Conor and for the UFC.
Is it a way, though, if someone does fall out, for them to get Conor into a championship fight and for people to be okay with it because it's short notice?
Probably, yeah. Like, to be fair, if Conor does it, he looks like a badass.
He does, yeah.
Who wants to fight Khabib on, say, 2 weeks notice?
Or Poirier.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure Conor would probably favour himself in a Poirier fight. Not that like we would, but because he's beaten before, you know.
Yeah, the Poirier one is one I'm interested in.
Yeah, me too.
Just down the line, say. Because
this is what I put to you. So I read something else from it. So you read that potentially coming in on that, but I read that maybe they're going to see who wins this fight, and maybe if Poirier wins, they'll go Conor versus Poirier. And then your reaction was,
I don't mind that fight. Don't mind it. Maybe not as Poirier's foot. Fuck it, go with his Poirier's first defense. It's not bad.
But he's coming off a loss.
Yeah,
to Khabib, the former champion.
Yeah, and I'm putting my semi-business head on here.
Yeah, I know.
It's Conor McGregor. Like.
I know.
Who do you give him? First defense.
Oh, sorry.
Poirier's first defensive win. Sorry.
See, I'm not against the rematch, depending on how it finishes. Like if it's a close decision,
you have to see
I'll go rematch. And even if it's not a close decision, Khabib hasn't lost in ever.
Yeah,
basically.
So he deserves a rematch.
In ever, yeah. So he deserves a rematch. But yeah.
Yeah, we've said it a million times. The Diaz fight makes sense. Just fucking do it, man.
Yeah. When does that fight happen? Diaz and
it's on the next card, isn't it? The next pay-per-view, DC Stipe.
Hopefully something happens in that fight that gives us the impetus for fucking Diaz versus McGregor, because just come back and do that fight. That's the one that makes sense.
Even if Diaz loses, Pettis McGregor.
Yeah, it's fun as well.
Yeah,
I like it.
You can do Pettis. I'm trying to think now. Say say Khabib loses.
Yeah.
No one wants to see Khabib Conor again.
No.
So say Khabib loses. Do the rematch. Do Pettis and McGregor. And then winners fight each other.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I like it. The other thing on that was that apparently Conor is pissed off that Dana White said that Jorge Masvidal is too big for him. Did you see Chael Sonnen's video on this?
No.
Chael Sonnen came out and said that this was a great promotional move by Dana White, because Dana White is basically goading McGregor to take this fight, and then it's given a built-in kind of storyline of McGregor being too small and all this. And like, it seems to be almost playing out the way Chael said, because what Chael said was Conor's going to be so pissed off, he's going to want this fight. But I'm still not convinced that Conor actually wants the fight, but I understand why he's pissed off.
I think that's probably exactly what's happening. I think Conor would take the fight in it if it was a main event. I'd imagine the UFC aren't too keen to do that fight as a main event of a pay-per-view.
I don't see why not.
Don't have an issue with it. They'll probably stick an interim title on it.
Oh, Jesus
why not?
Christ.
Comment
below if you want any more interim titles, let us know.
Yeah. Over under how many interim titles.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably what's happening.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what's happening.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. There's a video on the next news piece, so if you can get that while I'm introducing it.
So.
Nicholas Dalby has re-signed with the UFC after a long time away from the promotion. Of course, he spent some time in Cage Warriors. He won an interim title he won, speaking of interim titles.
Yeah, he won an interim title in Cage Warriors.
And then him and Ross Houston were set to unify the titles. They did fight. It was a bloody fight. And it was too bloody.
Fight.
It was too bloody according to the doctors on call at the event, and it was stopped, and it was a no contest, and it wasn't unified. But now Nicholas Dalby will be on UFC Copenhagen. Of course, he fought Darren Till famously in Dublin to a draw. Another draw. Jeez, Nicholas Dalby making a meal of this.
Not play the video?
But here is the announcement. So the announcement was made by Graham Boylan of Cage Warriors, of course, the president.
Is this him calling Nicholas to tell him?
Calling Nicholas to tell him. Yeah, so here we go.
My main goal is to get back to UFC.
Get back to UFC. Okay. So, if I told you were fighting in Copenhagen on September 28th, you'd be pretty happy.
Are you telling me? Are you telling me? Fuck yes! Sorry, gotta keep that. Nice. That's fucking awesome.
Congratulations, my boy. You're back where you belong. You're back where you fucking belong.
She's aggressive, isn't he?
That's amazing. Thank you.
Huh?
That's
Thank
deadly.
you.
Emotional.
It is full. It is full, but it's full with you on it.
Oh, that's fucking amazing. That's fucking amazing. I appreciate that.
We said we were going to do it, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And my main goal is just to get back.
That's fucking brilliant. That
pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, that's deadly.
It's a really cool moment. If you haven't seen the video and you're just listening, go check out the video because it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good news for Nicholas Dalby.
Yeah, brilliant. We said it off air. Do the rematch, man. The Cage Warriors with Ross Houston. It's a fucking great fight, so it was.
Yeah. And the thing is that they haven't announced what the fight is, so you never know.
Do the Ross Houston one.
I think they should do it.
Do it. Who else do you give him?
I don't know.
Who else do you give him that people care about? Obviously, people will like to see. People know Nicholas Dalby and they're happy to see him back. But if you put that Ross Houston one on, people are like, "Oh fuck!"
Like, I mean, Ross Houston is 8-0. Like, if Mickey Gall, for example, who we'll chat about later, is like 5-2, and he's in the UFC. Like, there's guys with worse records in the UFC, and he's a good 100%. Fighter. They could definitely do that there, and they just have a built-in storyline. All you have to say is these two guys fought in Cage Warriors. Go check out that fight on UFC Fight Pass. Subscribe now.
Yeah, it's easy, man. There's an easy story.
Easy money.
See with that storyline, banging on the main card.
Yeah,
easy.
Fucking right.
Easy ratings right there.
Main card opener.
Yeah, easy ratings right there.
We should fucking run the UFC. Go fuck yourself. One thing I do want to say about the whole Cage Warriors thing, this is a few times they've done this, where they call up guys and say you're signed with a promotion. I just find it a little bit weird, because, like, is there not a moment of, so what am I getting paid? Or are we going to negotiate this? Am I just, like, on the card? Do I just get whatever contract is there? Like, I know, like, most of these guys are going to take the minimum contract with the UFC anyway, but, like, it's just a bit weird.
Surely with some Nicholas Dalby
should be a bit higher than the basic.
It's an interesting one. It is potentially taking advantage. Taking advantage of fighters' willingness to fight in the UFC.
It feels like it, doesn't it? But I don't want to take away from that cool
little
moment.
side point.
Little side point, something to think about in your dreams and your thoughts. Jesus, BJ Penn.
Are we talking about this?
Yeah, we are. Fuck. BJ Penn is going to fight again. Did you hear?
Yeah,
he's fighting Nick Lentz. It's been confirmed by the UFC, and we have another video if you want to get this. Essentially, it was announced. Everybody was like, "Why?" Dana White did explain it, and
he gave a fucking shit reason. To be honest,
we'll see the reason, or we'll listen to the reason now in a minute. But yeah, Dana White confirmed that BJ Penn would fight again in the UFC, but this will be his last fight with the promotion, 100%. Even though the last time he said that he's not going to fight again.
This is the clip I've seen. So
yeah,
a lot of talking points to raise from this afterwards. I think. 1 second, get on screen for everyone at home to see.
Yes.
Dana talking shit once again.
You did say yesterday that you are giving BJ Penn another fight. You said in 2013 that you felt he had taken too much damage. You said a couple months ago that you couldn't do this anymore. Why are you choosing to promote another BJ
Because he
Penn?
terrorized me for friggin' a week and wouldn't stop texting me for 3 days straight and, talked me into it. So we have a deal now, win, lose, or draw. This is BJ Penn's last fight.
How do you ensure that? Is he still under contract?
Because I won't give him another fight.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's very clear between us now that there won't be another fight no matter what.
Why did you kind of give in to that? I mean, he's taken the most head strikes of anyone in UFC history. I think it's like over 1,300. I think a lot of people are just
questions that should be asked.
Him.
Yeah.
Well, if all you people that are concerned are doctors, then give me a call. If you're not, then mind your business.
You did say yesterday that you are giving BJ.
That was ESPN, was it, that gave that video? Thank you.
Yep, it was at the post-fight press. It's on YouTube for anyone who wants to go watch.
I'll let you go ahead because it seems like you aren't very happy with that answer.
Yeah, like, fuck me, man. You said in 2013, right, that he's taken too much damage, and now you're giving him another fight just because he texts you loads. I'll text you loads, Dana. Give me your fucking fight. It's ridiculous, like.
That reminded me of Meet the Parents. I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
Yeah, like, he texts me loads, he hounded me loads. I'm sure every fighter texts you loads and hounds you loads. Cory Anderson wants a championship fight. He's probably texting you loads looking for the Jon Jones fight. You're not giving it to him because you don't like him.
Yeah.
You like BJ Penn. He's a name. You can stick him on a card.
God.
This stinks, man. See, and this is the issue. This is the real issue. If something happens to BJ Penn, we're going to talk about it in a minute. I want to bring it up. But 2 fighters died this week.
Yeah.
Something happens to BJ Penn. Who's it on? The doctors who cleared him. Dana gave him a fight. Someone else will probably give him a fight after the UFC. Basically what Dana said is he won't give him another fight.
Yeah.
That doesn't stop Bellator, PFL, Rising.
Bellator will.
Rising.
Yeah.
Bellator will. One giving him a fight. Brave. Anyone giving him a fight. Doesn't stop.
It's a bit stinky, isn't it?
It stinks to me, man.
I hope you don't have this up. I want to test your brain. When's the last time BJ Penn won a fight? Just give me the year.
Is it? It's a long time. Is it 2013?
Further back.
Is it
2010?
Jesus.
2010.
Christ,
it's
man.
if you don't know,
it's an 8-fight skid. Is that right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a draw.
Jesus
with John Fitch. If you didn't know, it is 2019. And BJ Penn hasn't won since 2010. Yeah, it's a bit stinky. I do hope that this is his last one. In terms, like, I'm gonna believe that Dana won't give him another fight, but I do hope that if he goes somewhere else, just please, BJ, just call it a day. We've seen him take enough damage. Like, he looked all right in his last fight, but like, ugh.
See, I don't like criticising fighters because they do what I could never do and step in there.
And this is their profession.
Yeah, but it's hard watching a guy step in there like that, and he's not. It's hard watching a guy step in there like that, and when you know how good he was, it's hard watching a guy step in there to do it again and know that he's probably not going to win.
Yeah, I know. Like, BJ Penn was, before he went on the skid, he was 16-7-1. Now he is 16-14-2, and his record is getting tarnished.
The record just looks like a journey, man.
It does. It's awful.
Like, it's head trauma, man. It's not good. It's not good.
At least Nick Lentz is a wrestler, but he's also a wrestler who will take you down and throw punches, you know.
Yeah. This kind of rolls into I believe any other business next.
No, there's one more thing.
Okay.
Because something that you're also going to be unhappy about. You knew about this, but I just think it's good to confirm, just so people know and people can continue to boycott. I think BT Sports have revealed that UFC 242 Khabib versus Poirier, which we'll have a look at the card for a minute, will be on BT Sports box office for like what, 20 22 quid or whatever it is. So yeah, pay-per-view for UFC 242. I know you think that not all cards should be on, or I know that you think that all cards should be on just on the subscription, not on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But UFC 242, it's not great.
No, it's fairly stinky, to be honest, man.
Yeah,
It's fairly stinky.
it has one fight.
Yeah, it does have one fight. Yeah. Look, money grab. Well done, BT. They're not going to be releasing them figures anytime soon anyway,
No.
because they were poor.
Yeah.
We'll probably do more views on a video than they done buys, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fucking... Yeah, I don't even want to talk about this. It's awful.
I've said it before, I don't buy pay-per-views anyway. I don't think there's a lot of content. It's different over here, and I've outlined before, it's different over here, as in these guys aren't fighting over here. So the boxing fights generally that are over here that are pay-per-view are Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Dillian White. That's about it. They're promoted over here. People get access to them. Like European journalists don't get they have to fly to America to get access to Khabib, to get to Dustin, to get to Conor. To pretty much get to Conor as well.
Yeah.
If you want to bring Khabib over to Europe, if you want to bring him over to Ireland, do a media tour with him for a week, fight him in Europe, then I'm cool. I can understand why you would make a pay-per-view. This is a fucking money grab.
Yeah. It's shy.
Is that it? We don't have to talk about it anymore?
No, I'm done.
Fuck BT.
Actually, anybody in the UK or Ireland, let us know. There has to be one person who bought that pay-per-view last time.
Yeah.
Comment below. We're not going to insult you.
I can understand why you might buy it.
Yeah, if you're a big fan, and that's
but
the
I
only
think
way
you're an idiot for buying it.
We're not going to say find an illegal stream, because we definitely don't do that.
Definitely don't go on Reddit and find one.
No. Are they there?
I don't know.
Alright, good. Any other business?
Yeah. A little more serious topic.
Yeah.
2 boxers died this week.
Last week, was it?
Last week, sorry.
Last week, yeah.
And one of them was in quite a high profile fight on, I believe it was an ESPN card, was it? Top ranked ESPN card, yeah. And there's a nasty video going around. You should watch it, to be honest. It's not a nice watch. Have you seen it? It's where the trainer wants to pull him out. Yeah, the trainer wants to pull him out. So the trainer makes the right call, pulls him out of the fight. It's not enough, unfortunately. Fighters do what I could never do, and step into the cage and actually fight it. I've said before, man, it's legalised murder what they're doing, is what it is, and what they do for a job. And so many, they just don't have any quit in them. So to do what they do, like, if he had have stayed in the ring longer, it could have been, he could have died in the ring.
In the ring, yeah.
His trainer done the best from. I think that does have to be a change in the mindsets where someone saying this isn't good for me in the long run, and actually quitting. It's not quitting, man. It's saving yourself for another day. It's not quitting. And I know fighters have such a thing about being macho and not quitting. I've no quit in me. That's cool and all, but a lot of these guys have families to go home to. I believe that one of the boxers who died had 2 kids and a wife. Like, that's fucking shit, man.
Yeah, it's pretty grim. And that I do agree. Like, you should watch that video, but it's not nice to watch. No, it's
just a topic we're talking about, and it kind of gets ignored by a lot of people. People reference it all the time, but like, it's legalised more than what they're doing. You have to respect it, because I could never do it.
Yeah, did you hear what Khabib said as well?
What did he say?
He said that essentially these deaths of these fighters makes him hate this sport.
Yeah, I did see that. I can totally understand that. We've seen Conor has sort of said similar comments in the past, because obviously a teammate of his died in a show over here. So yeah, it's not.
It was a teammate was involved.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's not nice to see. It's definitely a topic worth bringing up. I think it's an important one to be talked about as well. But yeah,
like I absolutely love the sport. Of course, it's the reason why we do the show. But it's they're not playing games in there, and there is huge there is huge negatives at times for the kind of glory they're looking for, and it's they should be hugely respected as well. Was there anything else that you saw? And Brave CF24 was on. Noel, of course, was on the show. He was commentating the show. There's some big finishes on the card. King Cowley, who's Magic Gavinsky, knocked out King Cowley in the second round. King was pretty much dominating the fight.
The leg kicks were nasty.
And then Magic, which we kind of said when we were looking at the fight last week, just has that power and landed it and knocked him out cold.
Yeah, he sparked him. Keane fell nasty. That was a bad knockout. Ben Askren style couple of shots afterwards.
Yeah.
That was fucking badass.
It
man.
was badass. Yeah, it was fucking vicious. Cameron Elt's similar, just a
Great knockout.
huge punch. That was one of them ones where it's a weird kind of comparison, but it just reminded me of it. Did you ever see Jackass 3D, the movie?
I'm not sure. Go on.
Essentially, there's a part in it right at the beginning where they have like a hand, like on a doorway,
Yeah.
and it comes and smacks
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
and Bam Margera walks in, and the hand smacks him, and the way he falls is just flat on his back. That's pretty much what happened to Aiden
Yeah.
James here. When he got punched, he went flat on his back. It was like really clean.
Yeah.
Such a clean knockout. Weird comparison. It just reminded me of it.
Mhm.
And yeah, those are the two kind of big results on the card, and of course, Bubba Jenkins,
Jenkins, yeah.
won by ground and pound
Got a
in the main
W.
event. There was some more news. What else did you see?
I think what else was on. There was some PED issues in boxing again this week.
Oh yeah, well Dylan
White, yeah. So basically, fight was VADA tested. So an independent organisation, but UCAD were also testing. So VADA or UCAD tested Dillian White, random test, whatever. They called him into a hearing 3 days before the fight, and so UCAD don't notify the other party of this. So they pulled him into a hearing, basically asked for clarification. They found two essentially picogram levels, two different substances.
Jon Jones style.
Yeah, essentially, I think it was nanograms, maybe not nanograms.
That's bigger, isn't it?
It is bigger, yeah.
Yeah.
Still, I think I've seen it described as tiny traces. Pulled him in, looked for some clarification. Obviously, what he provided, this is all we know, what he provided to them was enough for them to clear him to fight a couple of days later.
Okay.
But it only broke after the fight. And so now people are like, wait, if this isn't in the system, why was he allowed to fight? Look, I don't know. If he was cleared to fight, you'd like to think that the reason he provided or how it got into his system was enough to clear him to fight, or that it wasn't performance enhancing. It's not great. All the same, it's not great. It's a publicity nightmare for the sport.
Yeah, it's it was just a bit stinky. That
Yeah,
like
it
when
is,
I saw it, I was
isn't
like,
it?
it's a bit stinky.
It is.
Yeah. Drug testing is a bit weird.
The lack of clarity around it is the real issue, I think. Because I can't imagine the promoter, Eddie Hound, being in any rush to announce this after the fight. The news broke. He didn't break it. It got out. The lack of clarity for me is the real issue here.
Yeah, big time. I saw some news there 2 minutes ago. Gastelum, he basically said that, I know last week he said he hopes to return quite soon, but he wants Adesanya to win at UFC 243 so he can take the belt from him to do the rematch. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I would like that. That fight was fucking phenomenal, man.
Yeah, you wouldn't do it immediately though, would you? Like if you won, you wouldn't go straight into that.
No,
I think
Gastelum has to get the W.
He has to get a W. Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much all the news. There was some it's big news this week. It wasn't like the biggest of news, but there was some good news.
Lots of little tidbits.
Great discussion. So yeah, there's a UFC card on this weekend. Let's go and talk about it. It's a decent card. Great main event, actually. It's a great main event. It's a shy card.
Yeah, let's be real about it.
Yeah. But our breakdown is brilliant, so check it out. UFC on ESPN 5. Covington versus Lawler goes down this weekend, this Saturday in Newark, New Jersey. And you're going to be in the States, Sean.
Yes,
so you'll be able to watch at a decent time, unlike us folk over here in Ireland. But as I said, it is headlined by Colby Covington versus Robbie Lawler. We're going to start at the main event, going to give our predictions, break down the fight, and then we're going to go down the full main card and give our predictions for those. And then at the end, we'll pick out an under-the-radar fight, a fight that we might like from the prelim card. But the prelims aren't stacked, but there might be a couple in there we'll talk about. So start at the Colby Covington Robbie Lawler fight. I kind of ask you this question a lot, and it's like because of this new ESPN era. You know, it's a big network in the US. So is this a worthy main event for this card?
Yeah, I think it is.
Me too.
Obviously,
I think so too.
Pretty much every MMA fan knows Robbie Lawler.
Yeah.
I think most people now know Colby Covington. Like him or hate him, people know him.
Maybe not for his fighting.
Yeah, people know him though. Obviously, he's met Donald Trump. That must have been some crack, that.
Yeah.
Two idiots in a room.
Jeez, getting political here.
No, we're going to leave the politics there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like this fight. Colby's been kind of thrown under the bus a little bit here by the UFC, as in he's taken a quite, not mad short notice, but what, 5-6 weeks, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, tough fight to take on short notice, especially when you have a title shot basically lined up. Dana has said if he wins, he's probably next in line. You'd like to think then that they're going to do Leon and Jorge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worthy of an ESPN main event.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's a really good fight. It really holds up the whole card, I think. I think this is like clearly head and shoulders better than every fight in this card probably combined. And I do think you're right that a lot of people know who obviously Robbie Lawler is, and he's an excellent fighter. And I think a lot of people know Robbie Lawler for his fighting.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't really have the biggest, most colourful personality. No. And on the flip side, Covington, I think, is a really good fighter. I think a lot of people underestimate him, but I think most people know him for his antics outside the octagon, for his trash talking and
turning up at MGM with a belt that he doesn't have anymore.
Yeah. So like all that kind of stuff. But I think he's underrated because of that. So I think it's a very worthy fight. So there's a few things about this fight that I find interesting, and I want to talk about a few things that I've heard people talk about. First thing is that these two used to train with each other. ATT. And Colby Covington kind of talked about their training a little bit, like hinted at it. But here's something that somebody said, and I want to get your thoughts on it, is that they feel that Colby Covington taking this fight on short notice when he basically has a title fight, or we assume he has a title fight ready to go, means that he feels that when they were in the training room, he must have had a good time against Robbie Lawler. He must have either dominated or feels like he could dominate. Do you read anything into that, especially because, you know, they haven't trained together in quite a while?
Yeah, it's a hard one to read into too much, but I definitely think it's worth noting,
exploring.
Because obviously Colby would have been a lot younger. It doesn't have his age there.
No.
Obviously Colby would have been a lot younger at the time.
Yeah.
We know what Robbie's ceiling is now. Colby would have known at the time where Robbie's ceiling is. Colby obviously feels he's above Robbie's level now. So yeah, I think that probably came into his mind when he took the fight on short notice.
Yeah, like it's hard to tell, isn't it? Because like, not being a fighter, it's hard to tell whether something like that would come into your consciousness, or whether it's just, you know, this is another guy.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago. I've improved. He's improved. Like, it's kind of hard to tell whether that says anything. But I definitely think it's a good point. You know,
it's definitely worth noting
for sure,
because ATT is such a big gym, and they would have sparred. They would have sparred.
But the other flip side on that is that sparring doesn't tell you everything.
100%.
And especially for certain guys who, like, they're excellent in the gym, but they really perform on the night.
Yeah.
And like when you're sparring, like, I haven't done a whole lot of sparring myself, but you know, when you're grappling, even like when I've done quite a decent amount of grappling, and when you're doing that versus when you're doing it in competition, there's a different level of intensity, especially with Robbie Lawler, whose style isn't really to finesse you. Like when you're in the gym and you're working on certain things, I'm sure you're not trying to like kill your
injure someone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when you're in the octagon and Robbie Lawler's in the octagon, he's trying to take your head off, so there's a different level of intensity. So, you know, kind of goes both ways as well.
Yeah, there is people as well. If you listen to some of the stories coming out of the likes of AKA and some of the sparring stories coming out of there, whereas in they go hell for leather every day. Whereas Robbie and other guys seem like guys who they just get an eye of the tiger when they step into the cage, and it's like that's what they live for. So yeah, I think that it's worth noting. Yeah,
Colby Covington hasn't fought since basically a year.
Yeah, and
I think
that possibly, very possibly. I'd imagine he's probably been training. Let's be real.
Yeah.
It's not like he's been sitting on his arse.
Yeah.
Running around with a belt.
Well, this is this.
Yeah. I think it is interesting. Like you say, a lot of people know who Colby is because he's been out of the cage for a year now. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It's probably his longest layoff.
Yeah, I think it might be. But yeah, he's on a good win streak. He has some good wins in there. I don't think any would be at quite a level of Robbie Lawler. Like Dos Anjos is a great win, but I think we've seen with Dos Anjos that he has been declining. But I also think right now we know that Robbie Lawler's been declining a little bit.
Coming off a loss as well.
Yeah, Robbie Lawler has lost to Ben Askren, which was a bit controversial, and I thought he looked good early on. Like the whole fight was early on, to be fair. But then as well with Dos Anjos put a bit of a pace on him that I think Colby Covington could match. Like I think the type of fight that Dos Anjos fought could be a similar fight for Colby Covington.
Yeah, Robbie's kind of at the stage now where he's just kind of a yardstick for guys, isn't he?
Yeah.
And Colby's obviously taking this fight at short notice. It's not that he's necessarily a yardstick for Colby. It's like they needed someone to fill it. They fucked Colby in. He's not flavour of the month at the UFC. But Robbie's a tough fight for anyone. Even if he is declining, he's a tough fight for anyone. He gave Ben a tough fight. For me, the loss wasn't controversial because I think the stoppage was fine. But he gave Ben a damn tough fight.
It's also a game of inches. Like if he could have landed one more elbow, he probably would have finished it. And we're talking about a completely different thing. Yeah. Like maybe he would have got the rub that it seems like Askren's getting right now. You know.
The thing is as well, if he lands that one more elbow and the fight's finished, and he beats Ben, and then he comes and beats Colby, you're probably talking about Robbie for a title shot.
Has to be, yeah.
Well, I think we said a few weeks ago, like if Robbie beats Colby, he's not getting a title shot. Realistically,
I don't think so. He is a big name, so it wouldn't surprise me too much. But I don't think so. But like we were talking about this, not yourself, because like obviously, But back in the day when Robbie Lawler was fighting in Strikeforce, we were talking about the exact same thing with Robbie Lawler. He seemed like he was maybe a little bit past his prime, even though he was still young at the time. But he was taking losses to guys he probably shouldn't have been losing to. So like Robbie Lawler has shown in the past that he can come back from this. Now that was 2012. Jesus. And he went on a serious run. He got back to the UFC and went on a serious run, became champion. And I don't think anybody expected that. So I'm not putting it past Robbie to be able to turn this around like he has before. But I do think Colby Covington is very underrated. He puts the pace on guys that they can't handle. Yep. Robbie Lawler in the past has shown some vulnerability to that kind of style. But he's also shown that he has great takedown defense against most guys. But I just think the difference with Colby Covington is that he changes takedowns together very, very well, and he's aggressive with them, and he'll keep looking for them. And I just think that he'll be able to put a pace on Robbie Lawler that Robbie Lawler is not going to be able to handle. And yeah, I think it's probably going to be a decision or maybe a choke at some point in the mid-fight. But I switched my pick on this one. I was thinking Robbie Lawler because I just felt like Robbie Lawler would be able to catch him, and I still think he's a great fighter. But the more I think about it, I just think Colby Covington is a really tough matchup for him.
Yeah. You're saying you switched your pick. Where does Robbie win this fight if he's to win it? Just catch him? I think if you look back, I just not even catch him. Like I think if you look back at what Robbie Lawler does well when he fights well, his takedown defense is usually on point. But that only kind of keeps up to a level. If a guy puts a serious pace on him, like the first Johnny Hendricks fight, I think it can be trouble for him. But against other guys where he could stop the takedown and land those big shots and those big combinations that he does well. So I still think that can happen. I just think Covington doesn't get hit too much. He has been hit, but he doesn't get hit too much. And I feel like he's going to be able to get some takedowns and win. But yeah, I'm not counting Lawler out at all. Yeah, same for me. I've watched quite a bit of Robbie. He's one of the guys I started watching. Loves a brawl.
Yeah, he loves it.
I struggle to see this one ending up in a brawl, and I think that's where Robbie needs to take it. If he can take Colby into a dogfight, I think that's where I could see him winning it. But Colby for me. Unless the ring rust is real.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting. If the ring rust is real, then Robbie has a chance, a big chance.
And that knockout power is for real.
Yeah, exactly.
It is for real.
So yeah, Colby at 4-9 doesn't do a whole pile for me, and Robbie at 13-8 again doesn't do a whole pile for me. So yeah, I'd probably be staying away from this one from a betting perspective. But yeah,
the Tapology predictions look quite on what the odds are. It's 58% for Colby Covington and 42% for Robbie Lawler.
Pretty much almost exactly on the odds.
Yeah, pretty much. The co-main event, Clay Guida against Jim Miller. Two guys who I need to check if they've fought before. I don't think they have. It
just seems like a fight that's happened.
It seems like they should have fought before. But yeah, two legends. Yeah. Both coming off wins in their last fight. But I do think that Jim Miller has looked a bit better recently, and also Clay Guida is coming off a win against BJ Penn. Yeah, which I don't think says a whole lot.
No, I wouldn't beat BJ Penn now, but you're probably looking at some of those Dana White looking for a fight guys that beat BJ Penn at the minute. Yeah. Unfortunately,
they never fought each other. Well, it feels like they should have fought each other.
I like this style of matchup, as in it's two legends sort of going against each other, and it's not like you're putting Jim Miller in against a fucking young up and coming guy who's gonna potentially run through him, and you're just giving him a name. But yeah, I like this style of matchup for the older guys in the UFC who aren't going to make a run at a title but are still probably good enough to be in the UFC. Yeah. So yeah, I like this style of matchup.
Yeah. I was very impressed with Jim Miller recently, and I'm ashamed to say I don't know if it was his last fight or it was the Alex White one, but I know he was having trouble with something. I'll find what it is, some kind of disease, and he basically got rid of it. And he looked really, really impressive, and he looked strong. He looked really strong, stronger than he's looked in a long time. And he's been fighting, as you said, like putting guys like Jim Miller or Clay Guida against these up and coming fighters probably isn't the best thing, but he's fought a few and he's beat them. Jim Miller. And with Clay Guida, like, I didn't think he looked that impressive against BJ Penn. I thought BJ Penn actually put on a pretty decent performance, all things considered, against Clay Guida, and I thought, you know, he landed some good shots. But I think here Jim Miller, for me, like, even when these two guys were in their prime, I would have picked Jim Miller, and I still think Jim Miller right now.
Look at those records, man. They're on screen for everyone to see. 29-13, 34-15.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, they're in a long time, aren't they?
Yeah. What's your pick?
Jim Miller probably, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has, like you say, he has looked good against legit guys recently. But he's quite short for my liking. He's 8-15 in the betting, and Clay is 11-8. Maybe a bit of value in that, but yeah, as you say, he hasn't looked wonderful in his last few fights. Both guys coming towards the end.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people are on Miller here. 76% gone for Miller, 24% gone for Clay Guida.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair.
And Jim Miller, he had Lyme disease. That's what it was.
That was it. I remember that now.
Yeah.
How did Jim get it done? Do you want to pick a method?
I think it's the decision.
Yeah, I think so.
There's been a lot of decisions lately in these cards.
Yeah. I think honestly, it's a poor co-main event. I do like the style of matchup, and I think it's a solid fight for a card like this. But as a co-main event,
I like that as a pay-per-view opener.
I was actually just thinking that as well. I was like, yeah, that's not bad.
Pay-per-view opener. Yeah, I like it. Joaquim or Joaquim Silva. I'm not sure which way he says it.
Joaquim.
I'd say Joaquim, but you know, Brazilians, they do
Joaquim's a lot more fun to say.
Yeah, and Nasrat Hasparat, another tough name, and I think I nailed both of them, to be honest.
Best of luck, Bruce.
Yeah. Bruce fucked up last week. I don't know if you noticed that he fucked up one of the events. But yeah, this is a fun fight as well, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I have a pick in mind straight away. Silva's a pretty good fighter. You know, he's had some success in the UFC so far. He was on the Ultimate Fighter finale anyway. I'm not sure if he was on that season, but the guys he's beat haven't been of the highest standard, and I think you can say the same thing about Nasrat, but I think Theobald Gulti and Mark Diakese are good wins. But I just think that Nasrat is one of the better strikers in this division. I think his hands are excellent, really excellent. Looks like Kelvin Gastelum and fights a little bit like him. Like, not just the hair, not just the beard.
He looks like Kelvin's little brother.
Look at the body. He has the same body and all.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it? We're talking about Nasrat here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have Nasrat every day. I have Nasrat here all day. I could be wrong, but I'm just very, very impressed with what he's done in the UFC so far. His hands are quick, similar to Kelvin. Good combinations, throws and combinations like a lot of guys don't, and he has a bit of reach advantage here, which would be handy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Nasrat.
Yeah, to be honest, don't know a whole pile of either fighter. Pretty much what you've said is what I've said. I think Nasrat is the better prospect.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's reflected in the odds as well. He's pretty much the biggest favourite on the card. He's 2-5, yeah, and Joaquim is 7-4.
The Tapology predictions, what do you think?
Going by the odds, I would guess 80% Nasrat.
82%.
Oh, you're
fucking show.
Quick maths.
Yeah, well done. Going down the card, Hannah Goldie against Miranda Granger. This is an interesting fight. At 125, it's a division where, you know, it's up and coming. Hannah Goldie, if you go check her out, if you just type in Hannah Goldie, or even get on Tapology if you can there. She is jacked for the division. She is huge. Like, she is really, really big. It's Hannah. There she is there. We're going to get this on screen because you got to see. Yeah.
Pictures on screen. Jesus.
Yeah, she's absolutely huge for the division.
Queen of Sparta, great nickname.
And she kind of fights the way she looks. Like, you know, like a really, really, like, she's not that short, but like a short, stocky fighter. If you think of that in the men's divisions, she's kind of stiff the way she fights. She's a big puncher. She's really good in the clinch. She has great knees, but she's kind of stiff. On the opposite hand, you have Miranda Granger, who's more flowy. She's longer. I'll say she has a bit of a reach advantage. I don't know if the UFC would have this up on their tab. You've got the UFC tab.
She would fuck me up.
Yeah, she's huge. Ginormous. I doubt you have the reach, do they, for this fight?
I'm trying to even find this. It is on the main event. On
main
card,
it's supposed to be. Well done, UFC. Wrong order. Idiots. We'll try to find it. But yeah, Granger is a... There it is there. The
first fight in the prelims, like.
Yeah. Tapology have a different
Battle of
spot.
the no faces.
Oh, the no faces and the no reach. But yeah,
they've no height, like.
yeah, they have nothing.
Oh, UFC, man.
You think like if Tapology can do it, the UFC can do it.
You're a multi-billion-dollar organisation, and you're telling me you can't measure your fucking fighters like with a bit of tape, like.
So Miranda is 5'7". Hannah is 5'4", with a 61-inch reach. I don't have Miranda's reach, but I have a feeling she's that very, very rangy by watching her fight, and she fights with that range. Hannah will do well if she can get it into the clinch. I don't think she will. I think Miranda's going to keep it on the outside. She's going to be able to land her jab, keep it out there, and win a decision. But Hannah is one of those girls who, if she lands a big strike, gets it in the clinch, gets it to the floor, she could win by ground and pound. But I've been impressed with what I've seen with Miranda, so I'll go with Miranda by, again, I'm going to go with another decision.
I'd love to give you some odds on this fight, Rob, but there isn't any.
None.
So Tapology are saying this fight's on the main card.
They are.
Okay, so it's not priced up anymore, and it's not on. It's like dead first on the UFC website. Don't know a whole pile about either fighter, to be honest. Miranda saying, we're looking at Miranda, she looks like a tank.
Yeah.
So yeah, we take Miranda.
That was Hannah.
Hannah
was the tank. All right.
Hannah looks like a fucking tank.
It's 5-0 versus 6-0 as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, undefeated
Yeah, they don't even
fighters.
have the records on the website. Like, what
Yeah.
the fuck?
66% going for Goldie, which is
4 to 6.
which is the jacked girl. I just love that her name is Goldie.
Yeah,
you know, Mike Goldberg.
it's brilliant. Like.
It's great.
24K is the nickname as well. I like that.
Ah, nice. Well done. Darko Stosic against Kennedy. Oh, Jesus. Ninjaku. That's my attempt. I know I got it wrong, but that's what I'm going to go for. Two big punchers here. Stosic, I watched some of his fights on YouTube. He is built
This
like
looks an outrageous mismatch by the
brick
pictures
shithouse.
on the...
He's built like a brick shithouse. But Kennedy, the African savage.
This looks like a mental mismatch.
In what way?
Look at the pictures of the two of them.
Yeah. Yeah, one guy looks a lot bigger.
Stosic looks fucking jacked, and Kennedy looks like a 170 pounder.
Yeah, but look at that reach though.
Yeah, no, the reach is mad.
The reach is different.
He's no legs on him though as well, so that's not great.
Kennedy, yeah.
His leg reach is nothing like.
He has no legs.
You're just going to wheel him into the octagon. He's going to fight him.
See, I think this is a really difficult fight to pick because they're like one guy is a little bit less experienced than the other guy, but he fights well at range, whereas Stosic would want to get it in punching range, and there's a big reach disadvantage for him as well. And like, I thought he looked good, Kennedy, in his UFC debut. Apart from the Dana White Contender Series, but his UFC debut against Paul Craig. That was when Paul Craig landed the Hail Mary triangle. Remember? Yeah. That was one of them ones. So
he was winning.
Yeah, like, I find this one difficult to pick. Stosic has a lot of power. I'm gonna go with Kennedy. I don't know which way. I don't even know what the odds are on like this. I'm gonna go with Kennedy.
Yeah. Again, I don't know a whole pile about either fighter, so I'm kind of just going off what you're saying.
Yeah.
Kennedy at 6-5 would interest me.
Yeah.
And Darko Stosic at 8-13. Looks a hard bastard, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
Yeah, I'll take Kennedy. Just whatever.
Yeah. So the main card isn't great.
It's grand. Like.
Are the prelims great?
No.
What's your under the radar? You gotta have one.
Yeah, I have one. Evenly matched fight. Mickey Gall and Salim Touhari. Touhari. Both 5-6. Mickey Gall, the guy I know because he came up from Dana White's looking for a fight. Yeah. Which I, for some reason, watch on YouTube, even though it's just propaganda for Dana White. Anyway.
Do you know what? I like it.
It's not bad. Like.
It's not bad. I like Matt Serra.
He's funny, yeah.
Yeah, he's funny as fuck. There it is there.
Yeah, it's a bit of a step up for Mickey Gall. So, yeah, it's an interesting fight.
Yeah, it's a tough fight for him. Like, Mickey Gall, I think, is a good prospect, but like we're in the age where prospects are having to really do their early work in the UFC, and that can be a problem. Some guys excel, some guys don't, and it's kind of unfortunate that happens. I'm gonna go with Antonina Shevchenko against Lucy Pudilova. Yes. It's Valentina's sister, and she lost her last fight. I'd be interested to see how she comes back from that and lost to Roxanne Modafferi.
Antonina, it's Valentina's sister Shevchenko. That's actually her nickname.
That's exactly how it goes. But yeah, the card isn't great, but let us know what your predictions are in the comments below, because we'd love to hear them, especially for the main event, because the main event is actually.
And also, I know we have
excellent.
quite a few American listeners. I'm going to be in New York for this fight.
Oh yeah.
If anyone wants to comment and let me know a good pub where I can watch this card. Bar. Let me know where I can watch this fight. Or if anyone wants to let me watch it at the gaff, I'll bring drink. And we'll have a good
Gaff's
time.
house, yeah.
We'll have a good time.
No creeps.
No. Well, if some woman wants to hit me up, like, you know. But yeah, anyone wants to, like, let me know.
We have like 1% viewership of women.
Let me know in the comments.
Yeah, if you're a woman, comment below. Just let Sean know. He wants to know. Let's move on to educating young Sean. This is where we give Sean some fights. He reviews them. We give him some more fights, and he gets educated. Let's go. So Sean, last week we gave you a couple of fights to watch. I hope you did watch them. Did you watch them?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. All right, just making sure.
This is homework. I don't
mind
doing.
Yeah, I know. Just making sure. So we're going to start with the one that I gave you. It was Michael Chandler versus Eddie Alvarez from Bellator 58, the very first Bellator fight that we gave you.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts?
Really good. I feel like this was a very Eddie Alvarez type fight.
Sure
I don't know
was.
why he sort of got the nickname Underground King.
Yeah.
Crazy. You watched the fight actually as well.
I did.
Crazy start to the fight. Thought the ref was going to stop it in the first round. Could have stopped it. I mean, Eddie was out. Like, both were landing. And they were talking about Michael Chandler as a wrestler, and it was a stand-up fight pretty much for the entirety of it.
It was like he wanted to prove something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very good. Really enjoyed it. Eddie looked so good considering the damage he took in that first round. I'm going to play some of it on screen now for everyone. It's on the Bellator YouTube channel, and I would recommend that you guys watch it.
Yeah, fair play to Bellator for putting this on YouTube as well. I assume that was because they fought a couple of times, so they probably put it up like the UFC will, you know, free fights or whatever. But yeah, it's a phenomenal fight. And the mad thing is that Eddie Alvarez has been in so many of those fights.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But even before that, like, he was in so many of these crazy what did the Americans say? Those drag out fights.
Yeah. This fight was brain trauma.
Yeah, pretty much. Which is, you know, pretty like it started.
Yeah. They both just went at each other.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And they were both throwing punches and bunches
Like,
at
look
each
at
other.
that's 10 seconds into round one, and Eddie Alvarez was almost finished.
The ref's going to stop it there.
Look, and he's
going to stop it there.
He was about to step in. There he goes for a takedown. But yeah, beautiful fight. And they've fought a couple of times.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go and give you that fight when I give it at the end, because I was thinking about maybe giving you the second one. And
is it as good as the first?
They're all very good, yeah.
Okay.
They're very good. So
are they all in Bellator?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Michael Chandler never moved from Bellator since. So I'll get back to them. Eventually we'll get there.
Okay.
And you'll be able to witness all of them. But we'll go into Noel's fight.
Yeah.
Which was another fight. And for different reasons. It was a great fight, but also it had a bit of controversy, I think. It was Mauricio Shogun Hua versus Lyoto Machida, and that was at UFC 104.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on the fight at first, and then we'll talk about the other thing that a lot of people talk about with this fight?
Yeah. No, what did Noel say this? But this was like the 8th greatest light heavyweight fight ever. Yeah. And like one of the top fights that year. I thought it was a good fight.
Yeah, it was a fun fight.
Yeah, no, it was good. Like, I wouldn't say it was one of the best fights ever.
Yeah.
It was quite technical.
Highly technical.
Because obviously you've Lyoto, who's a high class kickboxer, karate guy.
Yeah.
I think I obviously don't know too much about Shogun. I've seen a bit of him now because of this, but I think one of the things that made this fight so mad was because Lyoto hadn't been challenged from what they were saying on the commentary.
Yeah.
And so when Shogun actually was like, oh, he's actually winning around here, I think it was kind of one of those where, I'm not justifying the decision here at all, but I think it was kind of one of those where people sort of were really surprised to see Lyoto push like that.
Okay.
The decision still stank now.
Yeah,
yeah, no, it was a good fight.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. It is a good fight, but yeah, it's not the best fight you'll ever see. It was very, very technical.
Yeah.
And I do think you're right. I think there was a bit of, at that time, it was the Machida era, as they called it, and they probably played that in the highlights.
And he had an aura about him, and they were like,
big time, yeah. Like, it was like the puzzle. They called him like a puzzle. Nobody could really figure out how to deal with him. And Shogun put in a performance that I think a lot of people didn't expect, because at the time as well, Shogun, after coming in from Pride, he had a bit of trouble. Like, he lost to Forrest Griffin, and like, he had a bit of trouble against some guys. Even Mark Coleman. He fought Mark Coleman in Ireland, and Mark Coleman was, you know, way past it. And it was a crazy fight, but Shogun slowed down very, very early, and he just didn't look like the same guy. So I think when that came around, I think people didn't really expect Shogun to put on that performance against a guy who, you know, wasn't really touched. Do you think the fight was closer than a lot of people thought?
No.
No, you still think?
Yeah,
good.
no, I
Alright,
still think
good.
the decision was stinking.
Yeah.
I just didn't think it was a grand fight. The Chandler one this week was a lot better.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been this fight wouldn't have been one that I'd recommend to people looking to get into MMA.
Okay.
Yeah, the decision fucking stank, man.
Yeah.
I probably had it 4 rounds to 1 Shogun.
Is that the worst decision in MMA that you've seen?
Jesus, yeah, it's definitely top 3 anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I only gave Lyoto 1 round, and even then, it wasn't like he clearly won the rounds.
Yeah, it's just kind of you're looking for rounds.
Yeah, and it is hard. I've said this to you before. It is hard to score close fights, especially when they're quite technical. Because like, what are you looking for? But I think Shogun, that decision stank, and even Lyoto was a bit like, I'm not. As a fighter, you can't think you won that fight. I thought Shogun.
Even he looked surprised.
Yeah. I booed the stadium, or booing him obviously in that as well. But yeah, the decision stank.
It wasn't great.
Top 3 worst. Is it the worst decision you've ever seen? What's the
yeah.
worst?
Like I did think Nam Fan against the one that I gave you. Remember the Nam Fan, Leonard Garcia? I thought that was stinking. I thought that was really bad. But yeah, it's up there. Like it's up there definitely. But I wanted to know because I didn't watch it in a long time, and I did want to know whether it was
still as bad.
Yeah, still as bad, but also whether it was that thing of the champion who has never really been tested, and because the guy does well against them, people are giving them rounds. And I think we spoke about it earlier on the card. I think a lot of people might have gave some people credit, like Frankie Edgar and maybe Felicia Spencer, a bit more credit.
Similar to the Katie Taylor one from not that long ago.
Exactly, yeah, like which you can understand. But yeah, it was a good fight. But what is your out of 5 championship rounds? What's your ratings for the fights?
I'm gonna give Chandler and Eddie Alvarez a 5. Really thought that was a cracking fight. Like,
it's one of the best.
Just
fights
a brawl.
Yeah.
And then the finish as well. A lot of blood as well. Eddie was caught in a couple of places. Big fan of blood.
Blood. On the blood meter, it wasn't huge, but it was decent. Yeah.
There was enough blood to bring it up from, like, it was a 4.5, and then we'll give it the 5.
Yeah.
And then I'll give Lyoto and Shogun 3.
Yeah. It's all about the art here. The art of blood.
Yeah.
I'll give you a 5 for next week. You only have a little bit of homework because I'm the only one here. But this is a good one. And this is one that I kind of forgot about until I was scrolling through the annals of MMA history to see which way to give you. It's a little bit of an under the radar one. It's Rory McDonald versus Carlos Condit. That was from UFC 115. This was when Rory McDonald, well, basically nobody knew who Rory McDonald really was. He was a kind of an up and coming guy, and it's a really good fight. It's a really fun fight.
Excellent.
Yes.
2 guys who I can imagine going to war.
Yeah. We've gave you fights by both guys. Yeah, before. Excellent stuff. So let's move on, and we'll go to Sean's weird news, where he gives us some weird news.
First up this week, Rob, we have an old school Strikeforce photo of Cris Cyborg and Scott Coker.
Oh, who posted that?
Scott Coker.
When was that?
This weekend.
Was that after a fight?
After.
Oh.
Interesting, considering the potential free agency.
Yeah, makes sense. It seems like they've had a really good relationship, Scott Coker and Cris Cyborg, and for sure Cris Cyborg will be testing the market. I heard Ariel Helwani talk about
She'd
this.
She'd be silly not to.
Yeah, and she did put. Did you see the T-shirt? We had it on the news.
She could totally take it off.
Yeah, so it's like Nunes and her 2020 in January, and that kind of plays into when our contract negotiations could potentially clear up by and stuff like that. So yeah, well done, Scott Coker. That's savvy.
It's very smart by him, considering some of the stuff we've heard Dana come out with in the past, about Cyborg.
Yeah, it looks like Scott Coker lost some weight as well. Back then he was a bit more chubby.
Next up we have Brett Okamoto telling a little story about Frankie Edgar and one of his sons. So obviously one son came into the octagon with Frankie after when Frankie was nearly in tears.
Tina, was it?
Yeah. And this is why the other son wasn't there.
Okay. So Brett Okamoto said, Frankie Edgar tells me one of his 2 sons will be in attendance for his attempt to win a second UFC title this weekend. The other had a friend sleepover he could not miss. LOL. That is hilarious.
Imagine your dad was fighting, right?
Yeah.
In a UFC title fight.
Yeah.
Obviously with us, who are we fans, we'd be like, fucking get me cage side for that right now.
Get in there, yeah.
And obviously Frankie said to his dad, said to his son, do you want to come? And he's like, no. I got a mates.
Yeah, I have a mate coming over. Yeah. It's too important. That's hilarious. I wonder if he's the older of the sons and he's been through this many times.
I'm not sure.
I wonder. And he's like, Frankie.
Yeah.
You've had loads of title shots.
Yeah. You're doing this age, is that?
Yeah,
I'm fucking sick of this shit.
Yeah, I'm just going to have a sleepover.
Do you reckon his son watched that? at the sleepover? Do you reckon he was like,
they're playing Fortnite or something? Fortnite.
Yeah,
all day.
Next up, we have Redzo, Paul Redmond. So obviously the Bellator press conference is on, and Redzo was having a bit of back and forth with Liam McCourt on Twitter, and he tweeted this afterwards. Obviously, they both look a bit sour in the picture.
Yeah. Me, I'm sorry, Liam McCourt. I brought these M&Ms for me and Andy. You can't have any. He does look like he's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and Lee is like, I fucking wanted an M&M, man.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
Did you watch the Bellator press conference? Did you see any of it?
I missed it.
I seen a few of the interviews afterwards with Redzo and who else was that? I seen the stare down between MVP and Richard Cayley.
I seen that.
That was quite funny.
Yeah.
MVP just looks he's not arsed being there, man.
Yeah, I know. It's a weird fight, that. Very weird fight.
Next up, one of my favourites this week. This picture is so funny.
Oh my God. For the people listening, this is Max Holloway and his son. What's his son's name? Rush.
Mini Blessed.
And they've head swapped, so it's Max Holloway's
so
head.
It's one of the photo shoots
Rush.
to do after the fight with Max with the belt, and Rush is with him obviously, but they've swapped the heads, and it's so funny.
They're a fucking image of each other, though, aren't they?
Yeah,
like
brilliant.
Really are the image of each other. Do you see the video of Max Holloway when he was like 16 or something?
That was going around. I seen that. Yeah,
image.
Yeah,
even the hair, his hair darkened up over time.
Rush is absolutely adorable, man.
Yeah, he's
brilliant.
He's very funny.
Yeah.
Did you see the interview with him and Ariel? It was Rush and Max.
The
Who's Better? Yeah. The Who's Better game. Yeah. That was very funny.
It was funny. Yeah.
Who's faster? And he pointed at himself. And Max was like, "What the fuck? It's like you're slow, man. You're slow."
Yeah. They just seem like best mates. They're brilliant together.
That's cool. And funny picture.
Next up, we have a return of my personal favourite this week.
Let me guess. Spuds.
Yeah. Two of them actually. A double helping of Spuds this week. So Will is on the steak and Spuds, a lean meal. I like it.
Yeah. Steak looks medium.
I was just going to ask, have you seen Ariel? Ariel's been doing a bit of trolling lately on how people like their steaks. So we tweeted a picture one day, and it was like rated 1 to 6 on how you like your steak.
Sure.
I think it was 6 was obviously basically pure black. And Ariel was trolling everyone. He's like 6. If your answer isn't 6, you're wrong. And people are getting offended by it. Yeah,
hilarious.
This looks medium rare.
Medium, yeah, because you can see a bit of blood there on the plate.
And Will's a bit of a savage, a raw bastard, as he likes to say himself.
How many potatoes is that? It's a good few now. I know they're cut up, but that's a good few.
It's a lot.
Like potatoes are quite filling, I find.
The baby Spuds aren't as bad. You can eat a lot of them.
Yeah,
which is what they are.
Do you know what? I'm opposite. Like I can do a lot of roasties, but baby Spuds fill me up. Yeah,
for me now, in an ideal world, it's fried Spuds number 1, but you don't get them too often.
I've never had them.
Oh man, you don't get them too often, so they're kind of out of the list, and they're just.
It's like you can't make them for yourself. You don't get them too often. Like,
exactly.
You only get like Spuds when someone cooks them for you.
So fried Spuds for me, top of the pound for pound list. Fried Spuds.
Right.
Number 2, then roasties, 100%.
Roasties are class.
Yeah, roasties are the job. A little bit crunchy.
Bit
crunchy.
Yeah, of course, crunchy.
Yeah,
my dad does great roasties.
Yeah, roasties are fucking phenomenal.
You know when you do the roast and then you put it into the meat juice and then finish them off on that?
Phenomenal. And then we have another one from Will as well. This one's a bit different. This is a bit sick. This is a bit sick looking. I'm not gonna lie to you.
What is that?
Like slices of ham. What is this sauce?
What is the sauce? I have to say, Will.
Is it egg actually?
I like cold cuts. I just like slices of ham from a packet.
Yeah. Like that's raw bastard stuff.
That's pretty grim. I'm not gonna lie, that is pretty grim.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the steak and Spuds. I'm struggling to get behind this one, Will. Let me know the thinking when you're making this meal.
Wow.
What is the sauce?
Shocked.
Is that like
that sauce is horrible looking?
Is it egg or something? I don't know. I've never.
A rustic interpretation of Spud life. He's got to be taking a piss, has he?
Do you know what that looks like, right? It looks like he'd some Spuds in the fridge, and all he had in the fridge, right, was a couple of Spuds, a couple of slices of ham or going out of date, and some fucking random. It looks like Cajun sauce or something.
Do you know what that is? That is on the way home on a night out. You walk past the chipper and it's closed, and you're like, "Oh fuck! I better get something at home." There's nothing else, and that's all you have in the house, and you make that and you eat it at like 5 in the morning.
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed in this one, Will. I'm not going to lie.
But the steak, you know,
it brings it up.
Yeah.
We know this is not your level, but it shit happens, you know.
Yeah,
so it is what it is. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah.
But yeah, that's all for this week.
I'm kind of shook. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit shook. Speaking of Will, we had him on a few weeks back, and Sean asked him a great question about Spurs, and he gave a great answer. And unfortunately, there was some technical issues. But Will said the next time he's on, he will give an even better answer to your Spurs question.
He's going to be thinking about it now.
Yeah, it's in his mind. Yeah, we won't tell you what the question was, but yeah. Cool. Thanks for listening if you're listening, and thanks for watching if you're watching on YouTube. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and click the bell. It will give you a notification when we put out new videos, and we're going to try to do some more stuff on the channel as well. And hit the like button as well. That helps us out a lot. Do it. And we'll see you next week.
Button somewhere here, it subscribes and you get all the notifications for the show, so hit that button there.
You have to click the bell though to get the notifications down the bottom.
Make sure you hit it, and they get the ringer things because Rob didn't know, so it's the button there or there.
It's somewhere roughly around